Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the October 23rd, 2017 Mccracken County Fiscal Court meeting. This time I'd call the meeting to order and ask clerk to call the roll.
Commissioner Byner.
Here.
Commissioner Wadden.
Here.
And Judge Lieber.
Here. This time I'd have a word of prayer.
Yes. Let us pray. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for the many blessings of this day. We ask that you continue to watch over this meeting tonight, and that the decisions we make, you will give us the wisdom to make the correct decisions that is best for the people of this county. We ask that you also continue to watch over our servicemen and women who are on foreign soils, protecting the very rights that we exercise here tonight. We ask that you watch over all of our law enforcement and our public service employees of this county and of this state and nation. All of these things we ask in your name and for your sake. Amen.
Amen. If you would, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I'd entertain a motion for approval of the minutes from the October 9th, 2017 Fiscal Court meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byers, second by Commissioner Watson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Minutes are approved. Next, we have one discussion item tonight. We have from our jail. We've got our jailer, Tanya Ray, and I'll let her introduce the presenter.
Hello.
Hello.
We are going to be going over our master gardening project. That's going to be, we're going to be working with the Extension Office here in Mccracken County to get this developed. Mr. Puckett here has been doing a lot of research on it, and he knows a lot more about it than I do, so I'm going to let him speak on it. But I do have some pamphlets for you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening. I appreciate you all giving us an opportunity to share this with you. We're pretty excited about it. This past year, I don't know if y'all, I'm sure most of you have seen the gardens that we did over here this past year. Had some very interesting meetings with Henderson County Jail, which does a gardening project. And after visiting with them and listening to the numbers that they had produced through growing the gardens and that, there's no reason why we can't duplicate that and use a lot of the knowledge that they've gained and help us do the same thing here. Couple of things that I would like to stress with this. One thing is the financial side of it, and the other side of it is, of course, the Master Gardening Program is something that we're working with the Extension Office here. The UK University of Kentucky's gardening program will be taught. This is approved by the Extension Office. Through this, we're not going to be calling it the Master Gardening Program. It's kind of a title that the universities has for their classrooms, but it's the exact same curriculum, which is going to be called a gardening program. But the inmates will benefit from that by learning horticulture, landscaping. There's a lot in this program. I don't know at this point if the state is going to sanction it as a program that they give credit time for yet. That's a whole nother subject, but they will be able to get a certificate for this. It will teach them trades. It will help them when they do go before parole boards. A lot of knowledge in this that they can use after they leave the jail and get out in the real world to work. A lot of things that they can use to make a living with. So that's a benefit. Financially, for us, the kitchen, the jail's kitchen, currently I think it's $500 and something thousand a year is the current cost for the kitchen. What we'd like to do is cut the expense of the kitchen by instituting this project. The project in Henderson County, just kind of using their numbers, with their vegetable gardens, they'll produce close to $20,000 an acre with what they have. And I don't see any reason why we can't do that amount as well. We have several city lots that I've spoken with the owners of several of these city lots down here adjacent to the annex and adjacent to the jail, to do a lease agreement for those properties for $1 a year. And we would take care of maintaining the property for that property owner. In other words, if there's any yard work, trimming, or what have you that needs to be done, we would take care of that. The inmates would take care of the property. So that's some property there. I've also got 8 acres of ground out toward the Kevel area that we can lease for $1 a year, and it's been growing corn for some time. We'll be able to lease that for $1 a year and produce sweet corn. And I've recently acquired another 6 acres that's not right here at the jail that we can do the same thing. So all in all, we can increase the gardening from, I don't know, 1.5 acres or whatever this is over here, to adding another, 10, 11 acres of vegetable gardens, and then the sweet corn. Projected as to how much that will bring, well, let me back up a little bit. Tanya just negotiated a contract with the new kitchen company that they're going to purchase everything that we grow. And the amount that they purchase is 50 cents on the dollar. In other words, if you go to Kroger and you can buy a pound of okra, whatever, for $1 a pound, then they're going to buy it for 50 cents a pound. So that's kind of where the ruler of the money comes in to see how much it's. So anyway, I took current prices this year and tried to extrapolate everything out for next year, and really being conservative, not even including this next 6 acres, I think we can come up with $150,000 in savings to the kitchen expense through this project. Now, there are some startup costs, like there are with anything. Startup cost is listed in the thing there. I've got a building by All Steel Carports. It's the building and it being erected, everything ready to go. It's $14,340, and that goes through all the list of things that we've got there. Essentially, startup cost is estimated at a little over I think it's a little over $56,000, or a little over $55,000 with the items that I have listed there. In that little handout that I gave out earlier, or that Tanya gave you, the third page over, it's a kind of a footprint, and I went through the city's planning, zoning, and the storm water folks to make sure that we had under the amount of hard surface to be able to handle an additional building, and we do. So that's all been cleared. I've got that stamped there at the bottom. I've included the deeds for everything except the 8 acres and the 6 acres in here, which I don't have yet in there. And then there's also a cost for each of those items on the first letter there. The electric estimate, the plumbing estimates for the water, the concrete pad to set the building on. As far as water is concerned, I went through several meetings with Paducah Water, and there are several meters that we can use to irrigate. The only problem with that is we pay the cost of the water, we pay the cost of sewer for that water, and so it's a pretty costly thing. So what I've included in this are 2 reservoirs with a 2-inch pump that Paducah Water has told me they would be glad to extend their raw water outlet outside of the building that they currently have it coming into. They'd run it through that wall for us, and we could just go down and fill our reservoirs up and come out and irrigate with those reservoirs rather than using the city water. So we have the building that we've got cost out here is a 28 by 36. What I would like to do with that is there's in this cost estimate there's a 12-foot awning that comes out in front of that, and that's there. The purpose for that is to have a place to process these vegetables, because we'll be bringing in little trailers and stuff in with vegetables to be processed, so that they can go to wherever the kitchen company needs them to go. That building will be equipped with water. It'll be equipped with electrical, with lighting, 2 garage doors, a walk-in door, and a 220 outlet inside. And what I would like to do with that in the near future is get with WKCTC, see about getting an instructor out there for welding and start teaching welding. That's another avenue. Inside that building also, and y'all will laugh a little under your breath, but I'm proposing putting a worm farm in there. And it's not about raising worms for
I was looking at
yeah, I know, and you're probably thinking this guy's crazy. The worm farm, that is a very interesting venture. The Henderson County folks have a worm farm, and they've got 9 of those barrels. They're the trash cans, the 30-gallon trash cans. And they utilize 9 of those things. They produced 1,500 pounds of worm castings this past year with that. And now they use it for fertilize on a lot of their vegetables, which we will probably do too. However, there's an interesting market for those worm castings. They were offered $15 a pound for that stuff. That's over $22,000 of worm castings. Now, what you feed these worms are scraps out of the kitchen, coffee grounds, lettuce scraps, things like that. And the only thing about the worm farm is it has to have a constant temperature for them to multiply and for them to produce the premium amount of worm castings. And so part of that building, if you guys are accepting of this, will be separated and a controlled environment there for that. And I think that's about all I wanted to bring. Does anybody have any questions?
No, sir.
What's so special about the worm casting? Why is it so much?
That's it. I'm glad you asked that. The Henderson County sent some samples off to UK for analyzation. The numbers were off the charts. It blows your mind the value this stuff has for fertilizer, and it surpasses cattle manure and horse manure and those type of things. It's just a much better fertilizer. One other thing I did want to mention, there are about 3 youth groups, youth bass fishing tournaments that go on around this area. And as these worms multiply, a certain amount of those can be taken out after you get to a certain point. And I would like to take those excess worms and maybe provide bait for some of these youth fishing tournaments. So it's a win-win all the way around. I think in the first year startup, the expenses, second, third, subsequent years after that, if I can continue to do this, health is good. I'd like to continue to grow this thing. And yes, sir.
Let me do a little bit devil's advocating.
Mm-hmm.
If that's a correct phrase. I really didn't realize we were doing this tonight. I'd gotten the master gardener thing, and I thought we were off on something else. So we're back to where I'd hoped to do this in a workshop. So I apologize if I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay.
But I didn't really realize what we were getting into. Couple of things. One, you keep talking about if we approve it. Where is the financing coming for this project?
Well, this is a project that would be funded out of the commissary funds.
Is all the expenditures on this sheet able to come out of commissary money according to the state regulations?
Yes, sir.
Is everything you've talked about in this thing, because you talked about a climate-controlled worm environment, is that included in the structure that you're talking about here, or is that going to be an additional?
Yes, sir.
So there will be an insulated part of that building, and that's included in this fee here.
Yes, sir.
Who's going to pay for the utilities of keeping these worms warm and fuzzy?
Well, that would be out of commissary fund as well. The whole building will be.
I don't. Do we pay any utilities? We don't pay anything utilities-wise out of commissary right now. Are we able to do that?
We are able to do that as long as it's only used for inmate purposes only. So that would be used for that. We would have to figure out a way to separate that bill. I don't know if we'd have to do it as a different billing address or how we would have to do that through the county, but yes, we would be able to pay for that out of commissary funds.
All right. The $150,000 projected revenue, is that off of the 2 parcels across the street and then the 8 acres out in Kevel?
Yes, sir.
All that has to be done and done well to generate the $150,000 worth of revenue.
Correct.
The reason I ask that is because I know how difficult it is, given the environment you work in, with inmates coming and going and all that stuff, to do this really well. We've got a couple of parcels here by the jail now, one behind the main jail and one behind the annex, if I'm getting my terms right.
Yes.
And they do well part of the time, and then sometimes they don't do so well. Sometimes vegetables get picked, sometimes they don't. And I'm sure that's the nature of who the inmates are, who's leaving, who's coming in, and timing and that sort of thing, and all the other issues that go on with maintaining a population at the jail, being able to work them adequately. Is there any reason to have a comfort level that we'll be able to function with 2 additional lots, probably doubling the size of what we've currently got, and then an additional 8 acres in Kevel, which is quite a ways down the road? I'm assuming it's going to require more employees. Are those employees going to be able to be paid out of the commissary funds?
It won't require more employees. We'll get more state inmates to take care of that. The only thing it would maybe one more deputy to watch them while they're out there working. But as far as more staff, it's not going to really. It's going to be more inmate related.
Well, I recognize the inmates will be working, but it takes a considerable amount of staff to transport them. And if you've got an 8 acre lot, you're not taking 1 or 2 inmates out there to work them.
No, they would be going out with 2 deputies.
What's that?
We're staffed for it now. I mean, we've got 4 to 5 deputies that work at our annex now that could go out with them at the present time.
Okay.
So.
You said that the inmates would receive a certificate that would help them when they get out, but you said that in another statement you said that they wouldn't get any sort of credit, may not get any sort of credit. What kind of certificate are they going to get that's going to do them?
I may have assumed that right now we have programs that that inmates get 30 days, 60 days, 90 days off their sentence for accomplishing certain tasks. Certain classes, and I was hoping to get this approved for that. As it stands right now, the state's in litigation over having some projects at some facilities and not in others. Therefore, all of the inmates aren't able to take advantage of the same opportunities. And so they're real leery to extend that time credit. However, when these inmates do go through this class, they do complete it, they'll get a certificate of completion with this, much like you would it going out here to the college and getting a certificate of completion there. And they'll present that to the parole board as an accomplishment. That helps in some regards for them. It also, if they decide to go out here and do landscaping, they've got a pretty good background here to build on with that.
Okay. So let's go back to my original question. You mentioned if you get approval, are you required to get approval from us before you get approval from the state, or are you talking about getting state approval?
It's just a state approval. They only recognize certain programs in order to give credit right now.
No, I'm
Programs.
talking about for this to go forward.
Oh, no, this is just us presenting it to you all to pretty much get your blessing to move forward with it. It's not we're going to pay for everything out of our commissary, but we wanted to present it to you all to just pretty much, to make sure we get your blessing for
All
it.
right, well, we won't take any action on or say any blessings tonight, but we'll hold off till have time to digest it, pardon the pun.
Right.
And
Can
I thought
I
that
add
was
one more thing to it before we leave this? There's a lot of preparation that's got to happen to get these grounds ready, to rip it, put manure on it, get it ready where it can set through the winter. And we're getting real short on time to be able to accomplish some of that. I'm not trying to push, but preparation time is a premium right now.
yeah,
So-
you don't. We'll act quickly. You don't have to worry about that.
I wanted to add
I
another thing.
also want to let you know that I'm still upset because the okra got really big and didn't get eaten.
Oh,
and I'm a big fan of okra, and I'm
He's
really
a big
upset
fan
about
of
that.
okra.
I love okra, and I saw it really big and past the point where you can eat it, so I was really upset.
Can I
You said you want to
explain
explain it? Sure, go ahead.
Okay. We, as you know, we changed kitchen companies recently. The okra was getting down where it wasn't producing very much at that time. And I went over to the kitchen a couple of times, and the okra that we were picking and giving to the kitchen company, they weren't using. It was just setting. And so I was asked if we could let it grow to become ornaments for the upcoming holiday season, and I'm like, they're not feeding it anyway. This kitchen company's fixing to go out, and so I let it grow for that reason. In any other situation, it would have been picked like it's supposed to be.
Cool.
I'm gonna
Appreciate
add
the
one more thing
explanation. I'm a little
before
bit
we
less
end.
upset about it.
I'll bring you some.
I wanted to add this too. The employees or the volunteers at the extension office, they have volunteered to come to our annex to teach these classes too. So these inmates won't be transported anywhere. They'll be taught at the annex. So they volunteered to come and do their time there.
Appreciate
So we don't
that.
have to move anyone.
Appreciate that. Any other questions?
No.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Appreciate your time. Appreciate what you guys do.
All right, now, Mr. Hancock.
Okay, an order is needed to make the following cash transfers to pay county bills approved October 23rd in the amount of $255,481.08.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wathen, second by Commissioner Byer. Any discussion? Seeing none, ask clerk call the roll, please.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen?
Aye.
And Judge Leeper?
Aye.
An order is needed to approve the voucher claims register from October 9th through October 23rd, 2017 to show county bills in the amount of $390,682.20.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. Any discussion? Seeing none, ask clerk call the roll, please.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen?
Aye.
And Judge Leeper?
Aye. Next, Madam Clerk, court orders.
It is ordered to pay Jim Smith Contracting Company, LLC, pay application number 6 in the amount of $248,193.29 for Maxon Road Improvement Project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Seeing none, ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Waven.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered that Tyler Nolan be hired as a full-time road deputy at an annual salary of $40,000 less statutory deductions, effective November 1st, 2017. This includes the annual $4,000 incentive pay for POPS certified officers. It is further ordered that Tyler Nolan be paid a training stipend of $1,500.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. Any discussion? Seeing none, ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Waven.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered that Jim Chapman be hired as a temporary part-time sheriff office tax clerk at a rate of $10 per hour effective November 1st, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wathen, second by Commissioner Byer. Any further discussion? Seeing none, ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Waven.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to record the Anthem health rates of 2018.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. Before we ask for a vote, give compliment to Mr. Hancock. He's worked through this with our Benefits Committee, and I'd like to thank all the members of the Benefits Committee who have also worked. We're not proposing to change our plan this year, although there will be a significant increase in costs, which will be borne by the county and the employees based on the percentage that the employees have previously paid. There will be an increase based on simply the same percentage they've had in the past. There are going to be a number of employee meetings to allow employees to ask any questions they might have. And actually, Mr. Hancock scheduled one in a time so that employee spouses might attend and ask any questions they might have. Just wanted y'all to be up to date on that before we ask the clerk to call the roll. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Waven.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to accept the county treasurer's financial statement for September 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Watson, second by Commissioner Byer. All those in favor signify by saying, I'm sorry, we're going to have the clerk call the roll instead.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Waven.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to accept the resignation of full-time deputy jailer Rodney Edwards effective October 15, 2017. He has 6 vacation days to be paid and 2.5 sick days to be credited to the Kentucky retirement system.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Watson. All those in favor, ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Waven.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to accept the resignation of full-time deputy jailer Allison Alexander effective October 17, 2017. She has no vacation days and 7.5 sick days to be credited to the Kentucky retirement system.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Watson, second by Commissioner Byer. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call the roll, please.
Commissioner Waven.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered that Brandon Bellinger, don't know,
Close enough.
be hired as a full-time deputy jailer at an hourly rate of $12 per hour, less statutory deductions, all of which are subject to further order of the court.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Watson. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call the roll, please.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Waven.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to accept the termination of full-time Mccracken County Jail Receptionist Paula Riley effective October 9th, 2017. She has 14 vacation days to be paid and 25 sick days to be credited to the Kentucky retirement system.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Watson, second by Commissioner Byer. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call the roll, please.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Waven.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to accept the resignation of full-time deputy jailer Raleigh Walker effective October 18, 2017. He has 1 vacation day to be paid and 1 half sick day to be credited to the Kentucky retirement system.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Watson. Any discussion? Seeing none, ask clerk to call the roll, please.
Commissioner Waven.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered that effective October 1st, 2017, Deputy Jailer Tyler Davis be promoted to Sergeant Deputy Jailer at an hourly rate of $14 per hour less statutory deductions, all of which are subject to further order of the court.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Watson, second by Commissioner Byer. Any discussion? Ask clerk call the roll, please.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
Commissioner Waddon?
Aye.
And Judge Leaper?
Aye. On item L, gentlemen, we were not able to get the ordinance fully and finally drafted, so I'm going to suggest and ask one of you to make a motion to pass over.
I make some motion.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Watson to pass over item L under court orders. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion's approved. Next, we will have board appointments, Madam Clerk.
It is ordered to appoint James B. Adams to the board of the Melbourne New Hope Fire Department effective October 31st, 2017 and expiring October 31st, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Watson, second by Commissioner Byer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Another appointment, Madam Clerk.
It is ordered to reappoint Danny Thurston as trustee for Melbourne New Hope Fire Department effective October 31st, 2017 and expiring October 31st, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Watson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. We have no need, gentlemen, that I'm aware of, for an executive session. Anyone? County Attorney? That being said, moment for any comments any commissioners might have.
Judge, I was hoping you might give a little update to the public in reference to the active shooter training we had here for the courthouse employees.
Oh, well. First off, I'd like to thank you for kind of initiating it and letting us all know and be aware of the need for it. We probably been working on it for several months. I say we, the Sheriff's Department and others have been preparing for several months and happened Friday. Sorry for any inconvenience to anyone during the closing of the courthouse, but it was very necessary. It was a very well-administered exercise. I've got to compliment the Sheriff's Department, not only for the exercise, but when you read the newspapers last week and realized some of the other issues they were dealing with a shooter in the Kevel area and those sorts of things, all the things they were dealing with, you never felt them putting any less importance on this issue during that period. I certainly appreciate them and what they did last week under very extenuating circumstances to follow through with this exercise and make it as viable as it was. And I'd like to thank the employees. I didn't hear a single complaint from the employees from anybody's office as we went through the exercise on Friday. People understood the importance of it. People participated appropriately in it. We learned some lessons that we will improve on and hopefully never have to use. But we will act on those lessons we've learned and hopefully make this a safer environment to work in. And once again, just want to really thank the sheriff and his department for the effort they put in on it and weeks and weeks and weeks prior to it. And then watching them, I got to observe and watching them perform very admirably. Was encouraging to all of us that work in this building on a day-to-day basis. I think for the most part, people love their jobs here, but we deal with some people that have issues, and we just want to be safe. And we want to be a safe place for employees to work. Appreciate you asking the question, and appreciate all the employees that participated in that. There's a couple other issues I'd like to point out. We've been working very hard in a couple of areas. Maxon Road, we kind of went past that, paying that bill. Mr. Moore and Mr. Williams, our county engineer and our deputy judge, took me out to observe a couple of different construction issues on the road, building a culvert, very substantial culvert out there in the past couple of weeks. They'll start backfilling that in probably tomorrow or the next day. But it was a substantial effort. It took a lot of strategy and a lot of equipment. Added a little bit to our project, but in the long run, it's going to add a lot to the project for many, many years to come. And I appreciate their diligence in making sure that this project's done as well as can be done, and will serve the citizens of Mccracken County for a long time over. There's another, the jailer's still here. Just for your all's information, we have finally issued the notice to proceed on some of the jail updates that we've talked about previously today. They will probably begin work later this week, more likely the first of next week, doing the necessary upgrades in the jail that we've talked about in our workshops. And glad to see we finally got to that point, and appreciate Mr. Moore once again working through that process, and all the people in jail who have spent a little time and effort making sure that we're on task there. It takes a lot of people to put one of these together. The jail project is somewhat unique in that you're dealing with the inmate population on a day-to-day basis as this work's done. It requires a lot of working together between the contractor and the jail to make something like this happen. This will start sometime after today, and it will has to end theoretically by May of next year. It's not going to be a quick project, once again, when you're dealing with a population that has to be moved around as you work through it. It's a very slow process, but it will be worthwhile, once again, for the environment that our employees have to work in. And that's something we've been keyed on throughout this term, and I appreciate your all support in us trying to make those things happen, and Mr. Moore taking extremely seriously the issues that we deal with, safety across the campus, from the road department to the jail to this building. Employee safety is number one, and then having a nice place to work is number two. So we have been pretty diligent about that, and you guys have supported us, and I appreciate that very much. That's all I have to say. If you all have any other comments.
Just the one comment that I thoroughly enjoyed attending the workshop in reference to 911. The information that we received, I think, is good both for the county and the city, and I hope we can move forward on that project.
Appreciate you
as time
mentioning
goes.
that. I thought it was a good meeting, and Mr. Evanson had a good presentation. They've been through a lot to get where they are, and hopefully it will allow us to move to a better point quicker. Look forward to future meetings with the city to see if we can make that happen. That being said, this time I entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.